Good morning, UUSS. On this cool morning, rise in body, your spirit, and let your light shine.
Sunday service. Whether you are with us here on Zoom or here in person, we're glad that you are here. I'm Andy Cramer, today's worship associate.
Your mic's not on, Andy.
Give him just a moment here. There we go. I'm Andy Cramer, in case you didn't hear that. Reverend Roger and Reverend Lucy are here for the service that includes reflections by several UUSS members about their spiritual outlooks as UUs. Along with our musicians, Anthony and Irina, we are happy to welcome back Don Walker on the flute. We hope you will join us after the service for coffee and conversation. And today is another Soup Sunday. Yay! Our cooks and servers today are from the greeters and their friends. All ages are invited to stay for soup, bread, and a cookie. There's no set cost, but voluntary donations are welcome. After the service, the line will form on your left as you go out the doors. If this is your first time, please ask someone to help you find your way to it. You may get acquainted over soup in the welcome hall or in the sanctuary or on the patio. If you're new to UUSS, we extend a special welcome. Please fill out a newcomer's card either using the link on our website or at the welcome table after the service so that we can connect with you. Our weekly message comes to you by email every Friday, and you can find previous ones on the website. This week, look for an email about all our events of the holiday season here at UUSS. Next Sunday after the service is our monthly newcomer orientation with a tour of the campus. Your guide will meet you at the welcome table at 11:45. Childcare is available during the orientation, and it lasts about an hour. Once a month, we offer a session before the service entitled Exploring Unitarian Universalism, and we repeat the class on Zoom. Reverend Lucy will be leading Exploring UUism this Tuesday evening on the topic of UU faith. It will start at 7 p.m., and you log on in the same way you Zoom into the service. All are welcome. If you'd like to follow the music and other parts of the order of service, you may click the link on our Zoom chat or look on our website. The blue sheet includes upcoming activity. It's also online. Here are a few highlights from the blue sheet. In observance of the Advent season this afternoon, Reverend Roger will be leading a communion ritual here in the library bookstore at 2 p.m. All are welcome. You do not have to identify as Christian to attend or participate. Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock on Zoom, Joanne Anglin leads reading and reflecting on poetry. If you look around the sanctuary, you see that we have a new exhibit of artwork on the walls. The art committee invites you to a reception to meet the artist, Sue Torngren. Join us for refreshments and conversation this Thursday at 5:30 p.m. An annual tradition here is our Christmas tree trimming party. It will take place this Friday evening for all ages, newcomers and regulars alike. It starts at 5:30 p.m. and will start a potluck supper around 6. There will be Christmas caroling, a jam session, and a number of holiday crafts. All are welcome to join. Excuse me. Lou and Peter Bishop facilitate a sermon discussion before church next Sunday morning, and the topic is Redemption, a recent sermon by Reverend Lucy. You can join them in the FOS classroom at 9:30. Also, next Sunday after the service, the young adult meet and greet will be happening. It didn't get in the blue sheet, but it will happen next Sunday after the service, so please keep that in mind. And here's something important about next Sunday, December 8th. It's the day of the California International Marathon, which will prevent you from crossing Fair Oaks Boulevard, unless you're in running gear. Please allow extra time if you're coming here, as traffic will get heavier closer to UUSS. Our weekly message will include suggestions for an alternate way to church. Now, please check your cell phones to make sure it's on silent mode and that all the alarms are off, so that we can be more mindful in service. If a neighbor's device goes off during the service and they need a little help, please be kind and assist them. If you're attending by Zoom, after the service, we have 22 minutes of conversation in a smaller breakout room. In the next few moments, you are invited to come forward to light a candle of joy, sorrow, gratitude, or hope today. You may also fill out a prayer card to let the ministers know of your news and whether it may be included in the spoken joys and sorrows. Now, let us receive the music for centering.
Good morning. It's good to be with all of you here in the room and those of you who are joining us on Zoom. Happy December to you and greetings on the first Sunday of this season of Advent. Today, Natalie will be our chalice lighter. And maybe some of you have a chalice at home that you're going to light. The flaming chalice represents our Unitarian Universalist religious movement. This ritual of kindling the chalice reflects our connections to congregations across North America and around the world. The warmth of the chalice recalls our heritage of welcome to those who felt the Spirit's call and spoke their own religious truths in spite of the hostility of conventional opinions or the harm of dominant cultures. The light of the chalice is a beacon for all who are curious, open, loving, hopeful, and longing for a better world than we have known. The fire of the chalice reminds us of the need for commitment and courage as we make our way into the future. Let its warmth, its light, and its fire hold us together and lead us forward in trust and in hope. So may it be.
Hello. Nice to see all of you. This morning, we are going to welcome several people who have recently joined UUSS. They've met with the minister, they've signed the register, they've made a commitment to our congregation. I'd like to invite all of the new members, and you can see their names on the inside of your order of, or it's in an insert, right?
Yeah.
In an insert. So if you see your name on the insert, come on up and line up over here on the side. And I also want to invite our board president to come up and our guard. Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. Come on up. Yeah, I don't know how that happened. Oh, because that's right. For more than a century and a half in Sacramento, people have gathered as part of this congregation to seek a higher purpose and a deeper life than they could find alone. We're grateful today that these new members have found their way here and decided to make a commitment to our faith community. As I announce your name, please come forward. Receive a gift from our president and a flower from Reverend Roger and a generous welcome from all of us. And then if you could just stand over here on this side, we're going to share some words of commitment once the line is done. So come on up, Eddie Long, Larry Evenson. This is the Price is Right part of our service. Welcome. Lori Norris. Morgan McLaughlin and Mary McLaughlin. Come on up, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh my goodness, there's Linda Osborne and Cindy Geising. Did I get your name right? Welcome. Giesing. Good. Thank you for the correction. Welcome. Thank you. Mary Helen and Jim Adams. Welcome, welcome. There you go. Welcome. Christiana Quick Cleveland. Jenny Gwine and Michael Feliciano. Well, this would be Peter and Lou Bishop. Come on up. Oh, of course, welcome, 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 welcome. Yeah, thank you, Peter. Oh my goodness, look at all those people over there. The congregation will now recite words of welcome as printed in the order of service and up here on the slide. We welcome you as once we were welcomed ourselves. In the bonds of love and friendship with you to cultivate reverence, encourage spiritual growth, and promote our principle. Together we minister to one another and to the needs of the world at large. We celebrate the most sacred moments of life's passage. Together, let us honor the holiness at the heart of beauty.
Now, please turn toward me, as you are already, so that I may extend a blessing on behalf of the ministers and the members of the congregation of the UU Society of Sacramento. May you find here worthy companions for your spiritual journey. May you find the inspiration to offer your gifts to this church, to the wider community, and to the world. And may you feel held always in the care and support of this congregation. Now, please read the words that are on your insert, and if you didn't bring it up, you can read off of a neighbor's insert, or you can read the screen and recite the words for new members.
We enter this congregation with a sense of hope and possibility. We pledge to support this congregation and participate in its ministries. With you all, we share in the mission. We come together to deepen our lives and be a force for healing in the world. We seek your support as we join you in this community.
Now, let the congregation welcome you.
We invite you as
New members, to allow yourselves to know and to be known, to minister to and to be ministered unto, to love and to be loved by us, your fellow members, families, and friends. We recognize that we are now a different congregation. We are enhanced and expanded by your presence. We welcome you to this community with all our hearts. So may it be, and blessed be, and you may be seated.
As some recede into the congregation, others are beckoned forth. So I'd like to invite all those involved in RE and with special mention to the junior and senior high youth groups, which are both meeting today, to gradually make your way out towards the welcome hall as we guide you in singing your song to continue your service. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Don't give up hope. Don't give up hope. You're not alone. Don't you give up, don't you give up. Keep moving on. Keep moving on. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love.
One of the ways that this congregation cares for each other, builds community, is by weaving together the joys and the sorrows of our lives and our days. And this morning we have quite a few folks that want to share something with us. I also want to lift up how we care for each other, and these cards just really help me see that so clearly. So we have some, so I want to share that Deirdre is telling us her sorrow at the death of Dr. Rose Nelsinador, who was a vet for several of her cats. Rose was also a longtime member of the UU Community Church, and we will be having a memorial here for her on January 4th. Alicia wants to tell everyone how grateful they are for all the support they've received from the congregation since their mother died. The cards, kind words, and shared experience have meant the world to them. Good work, UUSS. Another among us is asking for continued prayers of healing for Maya Beatty, spouse to Hallie Kasai, Carol Jacobs, and Jeff Volder, some of our members of our community who are having some health challenges. And Lynn is telling us of the passing of Alona Montel, who I know that many of you will remember, very active in our women's group. She passed away last week. Lynn tells us that she was a beautiful and inspirational friend. Another among us wants to share their joy for this beautiful planet that we live on. Amen. Kathy is sharing a sorrow that her 80-year-old friend Toshi lost her 66-year-old daughter, who fell when tripped by her dog scurrying across on a walk. Linda wants to offer thanks to friends and family for their help over the past week. Mary is sharing with us that she and her siblings officially said goodbye to their parents yesterday, scattering their ashes in Yosemite. She writes, "We will miss them." Jorge is sharing hope for the future of our country. Go, Jorge, and the rest of us. Rich is sharing that last Sunday he attended a celebration of life for his younger cousin, David Aguilar. May he rest in peace. Emily's sharing a joy that their mother's pathology report showed that they got all the cancer in a surgery in November, and no radiation or chemo is needed. Linda is sharing a sorrow that their daughter's father died yesterday. Patricia and Leanna are sharing with us a joy that their friend Cheryl is home recuperating after major abdominal surgery and shoulder reconstruction. Prayers for continued healing are welcome. Another one among us is requesting for good thoughts because they're going to be singing a solo soon. Super nervous. Sending good juju. And Melissa is sharing a joy. They say, "All hail the golden ginkgo and the beauty of its dropping leaves." Benji and I are enjoying our autumn walks. Let's all take a deep breath as we process those joys and sorrows. Breathing in and breathing out with a sigh. And one more for good measure. I want to offer a prayer this morning that's inspired by the words of the Reverend Rebecca Savage. Please join me in the spirit of prayer. Spirit of life, source of mystery and grace, let our hearts be open this morning for the fullness of our lives. Knowing the anguish and grief that inspire us to love again and again. May our hearts be open to the suffering and disenfranchisement of people that encourage and inspire our passion for justice and wholeness. May our hearts be open for complex lives, for hard lives, for real, full, and overwhelmed lives. And let us give thanks for the blessings that we have been given. The resurgence of community, the steady warmth of hope, and the unwavering truth that there will be better days. We give thanks and seek your grace. Spirit of love, come alongside with all the holy nudges that we need so that we may live in such a way that we celebrate all the blessings that have been given, and that we may be a blessing to our world. Amen. Let us take some silence for the prayers in our own hearts.
When you feel moved to join, I invite you to join in singing this song by Maggie Wheeler. What really matters to your heart? What really matters to your heart? For the things of the world define you not. What really matters to your heart? What really matters in your soul? What really matters in your soul? For the things of the world define you not. What really matters to your soul? How do you treat the ones you love? How do you treat the ones you love? For that's what matters at the end of the day. How do you treat the ones you love? How do you treat your precious heart? How do you treat your precious heart? For that's what matters at the end of the day. What do you think? Your precious heart. How do you give of what you have? How do you give of what you have? For that's what matters at the end of the day. How do you give of what you have? How do you feel your gratitude? How do you feel your gratitude? For that's what matters at the end of the day. How do you feel your gratitude? How do you lift each other up? How do you lift
Thank you. Thank you, Anthony. For more than 2 centuries, people in our liberal religious tradition have both wrestled with religious diversity and embraced it. However, in the past half century, our embrace of diversity has accelerated and widened. There are diverse faiths represented in UU congregations, as well as diverse faiths in the same family, even the same person. Pluralism. Pluralism is now listed in the bylaws of our denomination as one of the primary values to which our movement is committed. Pluralism does not mean merely diversity, but also it means the goal of understanding one another and the practice of mutual respect. Back in the 1960s and 70s, there was a commercial on TV and radio for the Schaefer Brewing Company with a jingle that became famous. Schaefer is the one beer to have when you're having more than one. In the 1990s, the president of our denomination, the UUA, said the same thing about us. Unitarian Universalism is the religion to have if you're having more than one. We did not make an ad campaign out of that. However, among those who have a heart in this tradition and another one are a lot of UU members, a growing number of them. Some of the more recent ones, 7 years ago here at UUSS, the Reverend Abhi Janamanchi gave a sermon to us about being a Unitarian Universalist Hindu. And he says that for him, UU is the adjective and Hindu is the noun. He is a UU Hindu. He's a native of India, a third-generation member of a Hindu reform movement, and a social justice activist. He and I became friends at our UU seminary in Chicago. Abhi has been an ordained UU minister since 1998, and he serves a large congregation on the East Coast. 6 years ago, the Reverend Eileen Kaur Tompkins Gillespie came here to give a sermon to us about her faith journey. A lifelong Unitarian Universalist, Eileen became a Sikh, or Sikh, as some people say, as a young adult. Sikhism is a religion founded on the Indian subcontinent in the 15th century. While here, Eileen took me to the Sikh house of worship in West Sacramento, known as a Gurdwara. She chatted with men and women there in their native language of Punjabi, which she had learned. She explained the ritual and symbols to me, and then we had a free vegetarian meal at the Gurdwara. And we have had UU ministers who've come from Jewish backgrounds, Christian backgrounds, and a number who were unchurched. They had no religious background. But this service today is about lay members of this congregation. It includes members of our congregation who claim Unitarian Universalism, plus another tradition as their spiritual identity. And I hope in the future we can include more voices from among you. In the order of service, you will see the names of the speakers and their traditions, and on the cover of it, you can see the stained glass window from our church in Rockford, Illinois. It was installed 50 years ago. First, Jerry will speak and offer us a reading.
Good morning, I'm Jerry. I'm a Unitarian Universalist that look through the lens of Jesus, not organized Christianity. By that I mean the Unitarian principles are the center of my life, but I look to the words of Jesus, other thinkers, past and present, to give me ways to fulfill those principles. A year and a half ago, a Unitarian Universalist minister, Carlton E. Smith, preached to us. He was ill, so he preached from Washington, D.C. on the big screen. And during his message, he mentioned a new book he had written called Try My Jesus, which is 35 daily lessons that include all the things that Jesus said. Now, if you tried to get all of those from the four Gospels, that is very, very difficult. So I really appreciated when Carlton put them all together in one place. And each day, there are the words of Jesus. Then Carlton gives a Unitarian Universal spin on those words. And at the end, a challenge for our daily life. I would like to read, not this whole book, but day 7. He begins the book based on the Beatitudes. So this is one of them. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. In these next few texts, Jesus pronounces blessings over the crowd who had gathered to hear him preach. In Old English, bless means to consecrate a thing or a person to make them holy. Over the time, the word has begun to take on other meanings. One new meaning is bliss. Now, when we say blessed, it brings together elements of both consecration and enjoyment. Acknowledging that our lives carry sacred purpose can be a source of delight for us. These are the words now of Carlton. Very early in my ministry, I was at the bedside of an elderly gentleman who was recovering from having one of his legs amputated just below the knee. The nurses had asked me to visit him because he was so depressed. The truth was, I didn't know what to say that would help him, so I just listened, a practice taught us by Reverend Lucy. At some point, as he was talking, he recognized that he still had all of his other leg. He began to smile and laugh and shake that remaining air all around, the remaining leg all around the air. Spirit had taken my silent presence and used it to give that man some relief as we reflected that he still had so much to be grateful for. Jesus tells us the kingdom of heaven is near. Whenever we can be present in our blessings at that moment, it's okay to feel sad. It won't always be that way. Now here's the challenge for the day 7. Visit or call someone who's facing a challenge. Try bringing a quiet, peaceful presence and see what happens. Amen.
My name is Leanna Pearson. My wife, Patricia, and I have been coming to UUSS for about 7 years. I appreciate the Unitarian Universalist values of pluralism and the respect for all beings. I also appreciate the UUSS statement that says we come together to deepen our lives and be a force for healing in the world. To me, that means we deepen our own lives through the traditions we most identify with, and we also look to heal the world around us, including the earth and all beings on the earth, whether human or other. At the same time, I value those qualities. I also appreciate having a formal church structure with regular thoughtful services, opportunities to help others, or help the earth. Blending paganism with Unitarian Universalism seems like a natural fit to me, and is much easier, in my opinion, than trying to accomplish the same thing in other church traditions, as Unitarian Universalism allows for a plurality of belief systems to come together in one community. What I appreciate about being a pagan is the closeness to the rhythms of the earth and the seasons, the appreciation of various beings, goddesses, gods, and spirits that represent various aspects of nature, the seasons, or ourselves, that I believe coexist with us in some form. I also appreciate the value paganism places on the natural world. Having grown up in a small mountain community and having been out in nature camping, fishing, and hunting with my family, I've always been in awe of the natural world. From the majesty of snow-covered mountains, beautiful fall colors, and the stark beauty of the eastern Sierra, where the dark blue hills look like they're covered in powdered sugar after it snows. Such beauty seems magical. Closeness to nature inspires me. For me, paganism is a way for me to incorporate the appreciation of nature into my religious practice. I don't practice any specific type of paganism and try to incorporate different traditions into my own practice. I express my beliefs through the rituals that the Covenant of UU Pagans here at UUSS, CUPS, puts on. I also try to incorporate paganism in my personal reflections each day. For me, it's not a specific ritual, but the expression of closeness to the natural world and noticing natural occurrences, such as the changing seasons as the wheel of the year turns. CUPS celebrates the solstices, equinoxes, as well as various harvest and spring rituals. I'm one of the co-chairs of CUPS here at UUSS and would like to invite you all to the CUPS Yule celebration December 22nd at 5 p.m. in the Foz room with a ritual celebration and a potluck. We'll be making ornaments as part of the fun, so please join us. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tiki Harlow. I grew up in a blended household of two faith traditions, but in practice, no one in my house had much faith in anything. I'm pretty sure that lack of faith is what created a longing in me for belief in something, and is at the root of why I embrace my UU faith today. My father's family is Jewish, and my mother's family is Lutheran. Both of my parents wanted to get as far away from their religious backgrounds as possible. So as a child, it was left to my grandparents and extended family to see who would have the most influence over my brother and me. I loved my aunts and uncles, and especially my cousins on the Lutheran side. But when it came to the religious aspects of that faith, something made me uncomfortable. I think I understood, even as a child, that good behavior was driven by fear, and that words were not always reflected in actions. Coloring pictures in Sunday school of Jesus with blood dripping from his crown of thorns, well, that did not help matters. On the other side, my Jewish grandparents never pressed religion on us. We attended synagogue, but mostly on the high holidays. Services were sometimes boring, but the rituals and music and language were fascinating. What was important to my Jewish grandparents was that we loved reading and learning and music and culture. Celebrating Hanukkah was one of the most joy-filled times in my often fragile family. The food, the family dinner party with latkes and brisket, the music, the dancing, the same Hanukkah album, which I now have in CD form by the Carmen Israeli singers, that I have literally heard every year for 60 plus years. The candles in the menorah, everyone guessing which candle would burn the longest. It is those traditions and memories that fill my heart. And of course, the fun of opening small gifts for eight nights, that didn't hurt matters. So I entered adulthood and continue to this day practicing the rituals of Jewish culture. Every year I make Hanukkah dinner for family and friends, latkes with sour cream and applesauce, and brisket. We listen and dance to that same Hanukkah CD. We light the candles in the menorah and recite the blessings in Hebrew. And we still guess which candle will be the last to go out. Our adult daughter, now in her mid-20s, also lights her menorah every year while wearing her UU chalice necklace, a Hanukkah gift from us to her many years ago. When I think about my UU faith, which I came to later in life, I see so much in common with what I love in Judaism. The candles, the music, the sermons, interesting, sometimes fascinating, and only very occasionally boring. The warmth and love of the people, that's all of you. The encouragement to ask questions, the knowledge that it is okay to doubt. Keep seeking, keep exploring, keep learning. These are common themes in both my Jewish heritage and my UU faith. Thanks.
Good morning. My name is Jorge Jimenez. I've been here since 2003, introduced by my husband, Ron Selch. A while back, Roger Jones was inquired if anyone in the congregation had any experiences dealing with intersection of two traditions. I was very intrigued by the request and sent him the following write-up. I'm enriched by being at the intersection of beliefs of people trying to make sense of their world and life. Growing up in Panama, I would spend my summer school breaks at my grandma's house, who lived in the countryside. Now, I want you to close your eyes because the place that I went to in my grandma's house was absolutely magical for me. When I say countryside, imagine a jungle forest without roads, only on paved path, no electricity, no running water, no indoor plumbing. The only source of light at night was a kerosene lamp that was used to cast all sorts of shapes in the dark and strange forms and figures on the walls. So imagination running wild for a little boy. The world and my relatives, uncles, aunts, my grandma, and cousin, lived was a world of deep superstition, the evil eye, witches, magic, but at the same time, it was filled with passed-on traditions of herbalism and shamanism. Yet they had a functional lifestyle, climbing up to the second story of the thatch hut that my grandmother's house was, to be safe from the dangers of the animals on the ground, and knowing how to live on the land and truly communally and commune with nature. Upon return to my parents' house, I would be exposed to the standard acknowledgement of the rituals of the Catholic belief. Although my mom was ostensibly a woman of science, a nurse who worked in vaccinating Panama's indigenous people against tuberculosis, and my father was a man of finance and small business operations, I was told not to question why the priests lived in such lavish lifestyle with the finest car in town and gaudy rings on their fingers. Yet in high school, I was exposed to a new way of thinking that resonated with me, the ceaseless quest for understanding that is science. And without realizing it, that way of thinking launched my life. Cascading academic success, a Fulbright scholarship that took me from Panama to Eau Claire, Wisconsin to complete my baccalaureate in chemistry, to my career in science elucidating unknown chemical structures, into knowledge of patents and uses and applications. I carry with me the lessons looking at the world with understanding of math, physics, and chemistry laws, but at the same time with mysticism to recognize that some things in this universe are not to be taken on faith, and the fact that we don't know absolutely anything at this point. I know that country folk can also have wisdom, and the aphorisms of my grandmother that she used to tell me can also align with other belief systems, even though their lives might have seemed simple to other peoples and cultures. The memories and knowledge that I gathered from those years at my relatives on the countryside have stayed with me and basically guided me to the personhood that you see right here in front of you. Finally, I carry with me the ancient wisdom of Socrates: the unexamined life is not worth living. Thank you.
Generosity is a spiritual practice. This congregation has a practice of giving half of every Sunday's offering to an organization that is working to make a difference in the world. Our community partner for the month of December is Family Promise. The Family Promise Program assists local communities to coordinate their compassion to address the root causes of homelessness. They address homelessness holistically with shelter, case management, support, securing housing for families, and helping them to remain independent. Families come to them in crisis, and Family Promise helps them rebuild their lives and with new skills and support. We have been an active partner with Family Promise for many years. Thank you for your generosity to UUSS and our community partner. This morning's offering will now be given and received.
As our ushers come forward, please join me in speaking our unison words of intent for this offering. May generosity bless our world, and may gratitude nourish our spirits.
Thank you, Dawn and Irina. Our next speaker is coming to us on video because he doesn't live here anymore. Soon after becoming a U.S. citizen in Sacramento, Abdul began attending a Soul Matters group with us that was online. It was during the pandemic. 2 years ago, he and his family moved away, and Abdul joined a UU congregation near their new home on the East Coast.
Good morning. I'm Abdul Tamim, born and raised in a Muslim family in Afghanistan, where Islam's became the foundation of my values and beliefs. I continue to practice Islam because it provides a profound sense of purpose, guidance, and a spiritual connection in my life. As a family, my wife and I actively observe Islamic practices, including fasting during Ramadan, a profoundly spiritual experience that strengthens our devotion and empathy for others. We also engage in daily prayers, which serve as a sacred moments of reflection, gratitude, and reconnection with God. At the same time, I identify as a Unitarian Universalist, reflecting another vital aspect of a spiritual journey. While Islam is deeply rooted in my faith, Unitarian Universalism offers a wider framework to explore diverse spiritual paths and foster inclusivity. What draws me to Unitarian Universalism it is focus on shared principles rather than prescribed beliefs. It celebrates the interconnectedness of all people and upholds the freedom to seek truth and meaning through individual exploration. As a Unitarian Universalist, I value being part of the community that promotes interfaith dialogues and encourages learning from different traditions. For me, being both Muslim and Unitarian Universalist is not a conflict, but it's an harmony. Islam grounds me in devotion, structure, and morality, while Unitarian Universalism expands my perspective and inspires me to work toward of justice, fairness, and compassion for all. These two identities enrich my spiritual life in complementary ways. Islam provides the roots of my faith, while Unitarian Universalism gave me the wings to explore and connect with a diverse global community. Together, they shape how I approach the world with gratitude, curiosity, and commitments to make a positive difference. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Rich Howard. I'm not going to discuss being an ex-Catholic because that would make a trinity of faith traditions for me. Suffice it to say, I began dropping phrases from the Credo one by one when I would attend Mass, starting in 7th grade. And by the time I got to UC Berkeley, going to one guitar Mass in the middle of the Vietnam War finished me off. My Unitarian Universalist faith began when my spouse, Mary, was the choir director at UU Davis while I was a grad student at UC Davis. And I decided to attend their first performance. And Reverend Joy Atkinson gave a talk on Rastafarianism in a positive light. I thought there's really something here. Soon after that, we moved to Portland, Oregon, where we were very active members of the largest fellowship in the United States. And we followed up with being members of the Fresno Unitarian Church and became members here in 1989. Although my mother, who remained a devout Catholic to the end of her days, at first, when she heard that we'd become Unitarian Universalists, said, "Isn't that pseudo-intellectual religion?" She later came here whenever she could. I had an aversion to Eastern religion ever since being at UC Berkeley and watching the Hare Krishnas dance around with their little ponytails that would pull them up to heaven. And I kind of felt like maybe there was a cult thing going on there. So it took me a long time to discover Buddhism. But in 2003, Reverend Doug Kraft, who was our minister at the time, brought two Buddhist teachers, John Travis and Dennis Warren, to UUSS to give talks on insight meditation, sometimes known as Vipassana. Sounded really interesting to me, so Mary and I started at Sacramento Insight Meditation's beginning meditation class on February 17th, 2004. The reason I remember the exact date is it's exactly a year after my father's death. And I invite you psychologists in the congregation to talk to me about what's going on there after the service. I participated in a practice development and leadership training from 2006 to 2008. And I currently have a daily meditation practice. I've been in a Buddhist book discussion group for over 10 years and have participated in a cumulative year of residential retreat since 2004, 2 to 3 retreats per year of 5 days to 6 weeks in length, 370 nights in all. I've taught Buddhism and mindfulness meditation from 2008 to the present at Sacramento Insight Meditation, at a little community in Rockland, and I just recently completed a college course for college students at Sacramento City College, a 4-week course. I find the Buddhist practice to be most helpful in cultivating wholesome mind states like kindness, generosity, and equanimity, slowing my reactivity to unpleasant experience, and supporting compassionate action in the world. I find Unitarian Universalism to be a place where my wife and I, who have different faith backgrounds and belief systems, can practice together, and particularly for community and life passages. In summary, UU is my religion, Buddhism is my spiritual practice. Thank you.
Well, I want you to know that we tend to remember what you hear first and what you hear last. And guess what? I'm last. So this is my faith journey. If you know the movie Shrek, it's one of my favorite movies, animated movies, and there's a scene where Donkey and Shrek are walking along. Of course, Donkey's chatting, and Shrek is and so Donkey says, "So, what's it like to be an ogre?" And Shrek says, "It's like an onion." And Donkey says, "'Cause you stink?" And he says, "No, it's layers, layers." And that would be my answer if someone would ask me, what am I as a spiritual being? It would be layers, specifically 3 layers. But the foundational layer of my belief system is that simple message of Jesus that is in the New Testament that says, love God and love one another. For a long time, I puzzled over the image of God. I had given up the image of the patriarch on the golden throne, like when you are in a Christian church you all initially believe in. So I didn't have another image to anchor myself with, other than the words in the Bible that say God is love. But then what is love? And how does it manifest itself? And then a few years ago at a spirit rest retreat with Reverend Lucy, during a meditative walk, I suddenly had this clear image of the aurora borealis as a symbol of the divine. And now, when I pray, I imagine this beautiful light show as an embodiment of the divine love that surrounds me. My parents were Lutheran, and in Germany, if you were either Lutheran or Catholic according to the state. You didn't have any other choices. But when we came to the United States, then we started going to several Lutheran churches. And as a young child and as a teenager, I really believed everything that I learned in Sunday school about God and Jesus. I was comforted by the words of the song, and you may probably know this if you grew up in a Christian church. What a friend we have in Jesus, all our griefs and sins to bear. I see some nodding heads. At that time, we didn't have the mantra, what would Jesus do? I really tried hard to live my faith in the teachings and adhere to the teachings of the church because I really didn't want to disappoint Jesus and my parents. But when I started studying history and literature at Arizona State, by the way, they won yesterday, in my early 20s, I began to get a better understanding of the evil that had been done under the religious banner. The Crusades, the Inquisition, the 30-year war, the witch hunts in New England by people who had come here to seek religious freedom, the doctrine of discovery that had been used for centuries to justify colonial Christian conquest, and today's utter hypocrisy of the far religious right. My beliefs were shaken, and never again would I be able to go back to that sense of mystery and absolute faith that I had as a child. Over the years, since my first doubts, I came to reject the dogma of the Nicene Creed, which professed the divinity of Christ and the Immaculate Conception and the resurrection. But I still continued to go to liturgical churches because there was still something there that really fed my soul. But I also felt really guilty every time we would say every Sunday the Nicene Creed, which starts with, I believe when I did not. The second layer of my spiritual belief are the teachings of the Native Americans, and I was first exposed to those concepts when I was at Arizona State. And I just felt the embodiment of those concepts that resonated. The concept of all being connected, which, by the way, is also such a vital Unitarian Universalist concept. That honoring of the earth and the stewardship of the earth and that deep connection to the land and the ancestors. So while I learned about these concepts first as they related to Native Americans, I also now realize that they are all part of the Unitarian Universalist principles. The third layer of my spiritual life are the basic Buddhist teachings, which you just heard a little bit about from Rich, which to me are the most helpful in my daily life, that recognizing that part of living is suffering, often caused by attachment to things and outcomes and expectations. Nothing in life is permanent except what is, be mindful, fully present, and set the right intentions. Those really resonate. I have my spouse, Gary, to thank for me being here at UUSS. Gary was already a grasshopper and had been volunteering for a long time. And in 2016, he said, I would really wish that you would go to church with me. And so I did. It was great. And then it was tough leaving that little liturgical church that I was very much involved in, but I really wanted us to have a shared spiritual home, which we'd never had before, because I realized at that point I could take my teachings or my belief system anywhere. It was totally portable. So we joined USSS together in 2017 and became part of this beloved community. And I found more meaningful ways to love God and to love one another.
In coming together with our spiritual practices, let us sing For the Earth Forever Turning. For the earth forever turning, for the skies for every sea, for our lives, for all we cherish, sing we are
As we prepare to extinguish our chalice, please join me in speaking our shared intent. We extinguish this flame, but carry the light, love, and commitment of this gathering into the days to come.
Thank you all for your words, and thank you everyone here for bearing witness to them. I hope you will mingle and converse with these presenters over soup or over coffee. And now I invite you to reach out to us, reach out to one another as we reach out to you, and if you're at home, reach out to us here as we reach out back to you. May you depart in peace and be led forth in joy. For all who see God, may God go with you. For all who embrace life, may life return your affection. And for all who seek a right path, may a way be found and the courage to take it step by step, one day at a time. Blessed be.